you share with your friends, and then I'll let them talk.
Oh, right now?
Yeah, share with your friends, share with your friends, so they know what you have, and then I'll let them talk.
Okay, so I have tons of morphology resources, but, like she was talking about like a game, so like just simple games like that, like roll a suffix. I have the morphology cookies, so they can, yeah, they're little cookies, so let's see here. Well, and then there's like blank cookies, so they can make their own word. So like you would make like a blank cookie sheet. And then either a set of those, I copied them in color, but we all know coloring is expensive, so. This is just like the morphology tree that she showed,
And I also have that tree sample in the, folder.
but there's like turkeys, there's all kinds of different stuff. This is similar to the chart. Let's see here. Which one was it? This is similar, to the memory table in that you have your new concept, your keywords. This actually gives them a space to mark if it's a prefix, suffix, Latin base, or Greek base, word examples, what does it mean, and then a picture. So this is how morphology does it as well. This is an example of the passages that are out of the morphology book. There are passages for every morpheme.
There you go.
So I have those. I mean, I could possibly see if someone could copy a book for us.
Or scan it.
Yeah,
I can scan it into our
Okay,
iPad or whatever.
okay, yeah, because there's a lot, I mean, there's a lot.
I didn't hear that. so
Yeah, I know,
it's
that
okay.
sounds like,
Oh, just kidding,
Yeah.
just kidding.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Just kidding. But yeah, so there's passages that you can use, and like she said, they're short, so it doesn't even have to be like an entire passage, and then it tells, which morpheme that they're looking for. There's puzzle pieces. They can do puzzles, and then
I loved it.
she had such a cute idea. She had little cups with morphemes on them that were glow in the dark, and she said that she did like a black light. How did you do it?
We put a black light up and blacked out the room, and then we have constructed words with all the different prefixes, suffixes, and the words.
Yeah.
We just wrote the morpheme on it, the meaning on it, right on one side, and then on the top it had an S, a P, or an R, so that if they got stuck, they could kind of look and see.
Fun.
If you ever need anything,
Okay, well, you have an, expert in the room.
not
And
an
so,
expert.
go to her if you need some support. But actually, right now, I'm just gonna give you a few minutes to talk about how can you use what you learned today. And maybe it's, I don't really know what, but we need to come back to this in conversation. But I'm gonna give you a few minutes to talk with your team. How can you embed these things that you learned today, the vocabulary routine and the morphology routine? Set my timer for a couple minutes, and you guys chit chat, and then we'll come back together. Those are different ones. You got this.
I was thinking, you definitely got that, this is 25 years.
So, what I've done, when I tutored a sixth grader in morphology, I put this in a folder with all the brackets.
Yeah.
And so literally, it's like a little booklet, it's a morphology booklet, and I just use that. Now, she's talking about laminating them, putting them in, laminating them so they're durable on here, and putting them in some type of folder. But what I did was like, oh, bracket, like,
Some of them I have come
and
for
this was a
text,
little
so
booklet.
it'll say like,
So that's what we did from this.
this one,
So we have,
no, it's not.
they have,
It's an old
yeah,
one.
two members of this. And
Yeah, so you could put all that in one.
Yeah, that's
morphology
fine.
thing, and yeah, it's what, and there's no real, it doesn't matter what you use, what form you use, you decide what you guys use and what, yep. You do you. Yeah, you do whatever you wanna do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a conversation you guys need to have. You guys need to make those calls with the team, what you guys wanna use.
And I wouldn't know
share that could benefit the group?
Well, I just said sure. I wish I knew. I was like,
But you're gonna think about it, right?
Sure.
Okay.
We said it's a game day decision, we have to be in the classroom with the kids.
I know, no, I get it. I just want you to come back and reference it at some point. I want you to just think, okay, how can we be, like, I get it, like, I was a classroom teacher for 20 years, I know. Right before school, you're worried about everything else, and, and then you're also having all your professional learning. So I get that.
and I feel like
I just want you to promise me that you're gonna revisit.
No, I mean, like, here's the thing, like, it's harder for those of us that have been here forever. Like, I still remember driving one of my very first years down, I don't even know where I went. And I went to, what was that month, oh my gosh, it was a whole reading training, and I went down there. It's like, we have so much in our brain already
Yes.
that we've gotta
Yeah.
compartmentalize it and go, okay, now this is 2026 reading instruction.
Mhm.
Because my 2025 is still back, not 2005 reading instruction.
I get that. I get that.
4 blocks.
Yeah.
Remember 4 blocks?
I get it. I get it.
It's like,
I get it. I get it. I know.
so
I understand.
much.
Yeah. I get it. Anyone? Like, you talked about something. Share what you were talking about when you were with your list. Something that
So,
you're thinking about doing.
I think we just decided that we're gonna do a fifth grade vocabulary, composition book and have it interactive so that they can use it in all the classes, but have this list in the, like, on the front pages. And then anything else that they might need.
And you don't have to use that list. Make sure you go to that list that I gave you and you pick out a list, or if you have a list that you've already used with something else, just make sure that you, probably have this conversation about what list are we using and, a good, conversation about that.
I was gonna say, I like the idea of also the color coding, like you were saying, and like maybe color coding the pages, so like as they're in their interactive notebook, they can easily find prefix stuff.
Right, and I will say I did that, so I will say that I did that when I tutored this sixth grader, so that the pink was one color,
Prefixes are
right. Yeah, so you decide what color, but I will say that I made the paper that color, because then the kids could go right to the prefix,
Yeah.
right to the root, and it made it faster and a little more effective. So you decide what you wanna do, and you might decide as a school you wanna stick with the same colors,
Typically, Latin is lavender,
okay?
Greek is green,
Okay,
and then S suffix sky blue, and then prefix is pink.
okay,
That's how morphology, I mean, and they really emphasize the color coding of
Yeah.
it, so I mean, you could do that,
Yeah.
and,
Because the other thing is kids can start highlighting things. What's the prefix, they can highlight prefix, suffix, and roots with those colors, or you put them on index cards and they create the right words. So that's what makes it powerful, so that's something good. I think that's great to think about.
and I do have, if they wanted to do that with the list, I do have the lists that are broken down by Greek roots, Latin roots.
And I have some of those in that list, so like she has a list, so I have lists in there, but it sounds like she has some lists too, so that's also good conversations 35. Like, hey, what are we using, and here's some, so she has some resources too that she can bring to the table. Anyone else have any ideas or things they're thinking about? I think she was talking about laminating them. I don't know if she's still gonna do that, but she's talking about laminating, I don't know her name.
I'm sorry.
Brittany's talking about laminating them, right?
Yes.
Putting them in some type of
The
folder.
fourth grade folders, yes, and laminating them and then keeping them in the folders, and then I do the word study stuff at the beginning of the week, so I was saying I'll probably use the word map, because that's exactly how I teach it, but I do it on the board, like with them, so I would love for them to be able to do it on their own, and write, et cetera, so.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so I'm not gonna spend tons of time on vocabulary, but I'm gonna hit some things that, relate to the new, revised Kentucky academic standards. So, one thing I wanna talk about is standard 10. I'm gonna talk about some bundling back here, which we're gonna end up, I know Teresa's gonna share some things with you in a minute, about some future things, but I do wanna point out that standard 10 has changed a little bit. This is not the same standard that we had previously. So when you look at standard 10, it says routinely and flexibly develop and comprehend, analyze background knowledge along with a variety of comprehension strategies. I don't remember, I think the standard listed last time some strategies. They want us to move away from that. They want us to make sure that we're combining background knowledge and comprehension strategies. And also the standard 10 is grade level text. So that standard 10 is really important that you understand that it's grade level text, it's combining background knowledge and comprehension strategies, and then the routine and flexibility. I don't know that terminology's changed that much. They was talking about it, what I just said. So I do want to talk a little bit about the standard 10 in that these are effective reading comprehension strategies. They've been around, we call them thinking strategies in the old days. We know all these as what they are. We want to make sure that in standard 10, it's not just about teaching these individual strategies and that's it. It's about understanding the text. It's not just about using the strategy. So it's not about, I'm going to teach you questioning and you're going to use it. This standard is about kids understanding text. So you could be using a couple of these or some of these. It's about understanding the text. It's not about using the strategy anymore. So that makes it a little different, and it provides standards. The other thing I want to talk about is how important the background knowledge is. That this standard really focuses on background knowledge, and one of them is why do we need to focus on background knowledge, but it focuses on background knowledge, and it's about the inferencing, it's about authors really tell us what you need to know in the text, and then we need to fill in with details we know. So it's really about inferring, it's about inferencing, it's about background knowledge, and then, putting that together. So I want to focus on a little bit on background knowledge and how important background knowledge is. So I want you to read this at your table, just silently read it, and then I want you to say at your table, can you figure out what this is about? And I'm giving you no background knowledge. So I'm just asking you to read this with no previous knowledge. So I just want you to feel what it feels like and how important background knowledge is, so kids have that. So read this at your table and see if you can talk about what you think this is about with no prior knowledge. Anybody know? I know. Show me a bit. Anybody have any ideas? Okay, it's really about snowboarding. Yep, yep. So I wanted you to feel what it felt like if we don't make sure that kids have some background knowledge before they encounter text. And so what does that look like? There's lots of ways you can build background knowledge, and I don't need to stand here and tell you that because you already know that, but it's so important. And usually what happens with with any HQIR, they do a really good job that stories build on each other and the background knowledge builds. So in HQIRs, they've spent, we're not curriculum people, they are, and they spent a lot of time, the text, each text builds. So when we skip text, sometimes we're skipping some background knowledge. So I just wanted you to feel what it felt like if kids are just handed a text and we're like, here we go, and they had no idea what it's about. So I just wanted you to feel through this simulation what that was like. I also want to talk about bundling, which actually after I talk about this, Teresa's going to say a few things. So I do want to talk about our standards and bundling and how it's changed this year. So, because the standards came out. If you look at standard 1 and standard 10, so standard 1 and standard 10 happen in every text. So standard 1 is kids are making inferences about the text. They're reading it closely and making inferences, okay? And then the other standard I just went over was standard 10, where they're reading complex text and they're putting comprehension strategies and background knowledge together. You're using, in this ladder, standard 1 and 10 every single time you do text. I mean, they're inferencing every time they read text, and you're always giving them, in standard 10, you're always giving them grade level text, and they always are using comprehension strategies and background knowledge to get through it. These standards in between here depend on the text. So you might use standard 6 because it works well with that text. You might do standard 7. You're going to use these standards based on the complexity of the text and what kind of different text you use. So standard 1 and standard 10 are going to happen every single time you encounter text, and these are going to be based on what the text is like. And so this has changed a little bit in our thinking, so I just want to talk a little bit about this bundling piece. Your HQIR does the bundling for you. So if you ever look at your HQIR, it shows you, oh, we're doing this composition standard, we're doing this, standard one, standard whatever. Again, it's Common Core, but I think,
We
Tell
have
me about bullet.
correlations, yeah.
okay. So I'm not gonna have them talk about this, but I'm gonna have you talk about like how this knowledge I just shared with them is gonna build on what you guys are doing. Future to
Right,
future.
so you all have heard me throw around the PDSA, Plan, Do, Act, Study. All the things that I have planned will help us in creating and really internalizing what our units and what we're teaching and what our kids need, based on the 4 PLC questions. Like, first thing, what do we want our students to be able to do, right? That backward planning, how does everything all fit together? You know, I've had, this is year 23 for me, so I have all this other literacy knowledge too, like guided readings and all the different things like Melissa was talking about. But we have to think about that we have a group of kids that just learn differently. And when we used to teach like one standard in isolation, how many of us, even for pleasure this summer, were just thinking, okay, I'm gonna just focus on the character's actions, or I'm gonna just think about the theme of this book? We never did that. We as good readers used everything. We came across maybe some new words, even as adults, right? We used morphology or some context clues, different things that we have already in our tool belt, right, as good readers. It's just about building all of this so that all of our kids are going to be able to be successful and be readers that enjoy reading. So there's some fun strategies. We don't want to stress kids out. We want to make sure everything that we give them, even though it's something that they've never been exposed to, you'll hear a lot of, I always mix up the 2 words, they're the same, cohesive instruction. Is that the right word?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, okay. Sometimes I'll say
Yeah, no, you're right.
cohesive. So even when we're talking about these things, like Lynn had mentioned, you could use your text, because otherwise you're having to teach other things because they have no schema about things when they come to us. And so when you're having to teach a concept and build schema and background knowledge, you're taking away instructional time that if you had just used a text that was already introduced and, you know, already laid the groundwork, you'll just see how everything goes together. So through this process and all this learning that you're doing, when we sit down on Monday together with teams to really dig in and do our unit internalization, it is a lot just to look at, but I think you'll find that it's valuable work to really dig in, see what the kids need to be doing, and how we can get our kids to get there through very intentional, explicit instruction. And trust the process, because I know my view still is like from the devil, everybody's attitude, because the way it was rolled out, you know, there's not a perfect program out there. I mean, there's nothing,
Every school,
right?
at whatever district I go to, they're always complaining about their HQIR.
So,
Whether it's My View or Wonders or whatever it is.
so, that part we can't change, but we're gonna make the best of what the resource that we're expected to use, okay? So just come in with a positive attitude, the learning that we're gonna continue with Lynn today, and I think we're gonna move into writing and how all of it just goes together, because we'll be expected to use the writing part as well this year.
Okay, so let's talk about writing. So, the focus for writing, like in the past, I feel like as a state, because we did on-demand, it was always about the on-demand. Like it was, everybody, we just, all we focused on was the on-demand, because that's, in the end, let's be real, that's where, I mean, that's what came back, that's what came up, and that's what you were held accountable for. So because there's no on-demand anymore, the focus is making sure that we're doing these 3 types of writing, okay? So we're doing writing to learn, writing to demonstrate learning, and writing to publish. So writing to learn is very low stakes writing that you give kids, and it's practice, just helps them deepen their understanding. I think about writing to learn is like exit slips and different things that you do just to see how, hey, like a temperature check, how are kids doing? So that's what I think about for this, writing to learn. Writing to demonstrate learning is more task that requires the students to apply what they've done at the end of the text, or at the end of a unit, or at the end of a lesson, to demonstrate mastery. And then writing for publish is, they write an opinion piece, they write a narrative, they write an informational piece. That's where like those pieces where you take them through the writing process, and through those steps, and they publish a piece. So, on your table you have this exact chart, and it gives you a little bit of what the teacher's purpose is. I'm not gonna read it to you, and what the student's purpose is, but these are the 3 types of writing. I want you to talk at your table about which of these do you feel like you already do in your classroom. And give examples, like if you do writing to learn and you do different things where you have them reflect on what they've done, it's very low stakes writing, you don't assess it in any manner, you just have them do it, and it's very quick and timely, they get some feedback on it. Give some examples of what you do. If you do writing to demonstrate learning, what are some examples that you use, and then what are some published pieces that they do back during the year? If you don't do any of these, oh well, you don't do any of these, but that's great, because that's part of our new standard this year and what we're expected to do, so that's where we can talk about it. The other thing is, I'm gonna show you in a minute how you can use my view for each one of these, and I've given you a class example, but talk at your table about some of the things you've already done, so.
And Melissa, you can pull this out of that Dusty file cabinet, because this is nothing new.
Let's bring it all back from 2005, Melissa. You know, we never throw anything out, we just keep bringing it back and recycling it into something different. Actually, these actually aren't called anything different, they're the same things. No. But Melissa's right, there is all that stuff that you have back, and then you're trying to bring it forward, and there's more. So it sounds like you're gonna use it this year?
Yeah.
We'll make it easier because it'll be all laid out for you, and I'll give you some examples in a minute of how you could actually take, you do each one of these types of writing with your mind visual.
Well, there's probably great things in there, but it's local, we're kind of like,
So you might, yeah, so you might.
you
have
gotta
to-
organize it
Yeah.
into like individual response.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they get lost in like, wait, what was I writing about?
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
things wrote about that.
Yeah, I get that. I get that, makes sense. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That drives me crazy when you're doing that, like, I need them to read the same thing that they're gonna write about. Yeah, but even older kids. Okay, let's talk about some examples. Writing to learn, tell me what you do. Do you do any fun writing to learn activities in your room? I gave you an example of an exit slip. Is there anything you just get kids to do and they just respond in a writer's notebook about things? Or they just do quick, low stakes writing?
I mean, I'm a big proponent, I don't know if that's the right word,
Yeah.
for after they read, they respond to their reading.
Yeah, that's this, writing to
Okay,
learn.
that's what I thought.
And it's just,
Like,
and it's
I'll have a
basically
reading
low stakes.
response.
It's low stakes, you talk about it like it's not a grade, it's just them reflecting on what they've read. That's an example. Exit slips and examples, or anything else you guys do for writing to learn.
Would that be like free writing?
If it's free writing only, if it's free writing around maybe something specific after they've read something or they've done something. So it's something you taught them and then they reflect on it, probably more so than like it's just free writing. But good question, or good comment. So it wasn't a good question. Anyone else?
Well, no, I guess it's the same, but really in math, they do the same thing when they have to write and study and thinking.
Exactly, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Would they writing for reflections also be like, we have to reflect now?
Yeah, I think that's it, low stakes writing, and I think that's part of it.
Okay.
I think so. Okay, writing, well, or it could be writing to demonstrate learning, because you could actually, it also could be writing to demonstrate learning in math, depending on what it is, but I almost wonder if a reflection might even be that, because it's like, hey, you've learned this, now you're gonna reflect on it, what did you learn about it? That could be almost writing, it could be,
Demonstrate.
yeah, it could also be this
Cause
one.
they have to like take ownership in their learning, cause it'll like give them 3 different
Yeah.
strategies and say which one works best for you.
Yeah.
And that's what they do.
Yeah, I almost think that might be demonstrating what they've learned and how they're applying it, so it could probably fall in both of these, but, anything you guys do, well, you just said this, anything you guys do for writing to demonstrate learning? Okay.
What we already said.
Pretty much. And then obviously, you guys have published pieces, actually you may not have, because the whole focus was on-demand writing, but is there any published pieces that you've done in the past?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did all of it.
We did all of them.
Awesome, okay. So now let's talk about this. I have put each one of these, and I've taken a sample. I've literally gone through the, thingamajig, my view.
Better you than me.
I don't know that this is gonna be the best, but here you go. I did a third grade example, a fourth grade example, and a fifth grade example. And literally, I think I tried to just pick a random unit, so like, here we go. I don't know how close this will be, but it'll give you some ideas of how you can take unit, like in third grade, unit 1 environments, and you could, do like a writing to learn, demonstrate learning, and then a published piece. So look at this and talk about this at your team. Hey, is this feasible? Can we do this can we do this for a unit? Can we incorporate some of these things into one of the units that we're doing? And does it make it, is it reasonable? And I think I did the first unit, oh no, fourth grade I did unit 2. But somebody check me and make sure that that's really unit 2, fourth grade. Okay, look at those samples on your guided notes, and then look at what's up here. I have these all on your guided notes too, and then see if that seems realistic. Like, is that even possible? Or do you already do some of these things that's already naturally embedded? I'm just trying to tie in my view, people. Since it's expected you to
We
use it.
appreciate it.
I'm trying to tie it in. I also know that you sometimes do, like, do your own thing. I don't think there's probably police per se, but, and the code isn't sitting here right now, but I think they're taping me. I think they're taping me, but anyway, so I tried to tie in my view for you. So I'm gonna let you chat about that for a few minutes and look at what they have, so you can kind of see some examples and be like, oh, I get this, or no, I don't.
I get it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Yes. There's no consistency. You're not building on anything. You're not building on anything. That's the hard part, where this whole new thing of bundling, and this is with the stories as well, is that there's no teaching of a concept. Like, we're not teaching a skill anymore. We're introducing a passage or a text, and there's decent text, some of them are, but like one day, I'm not teaching it, I'm saying, hey, we're gonna read this first read, and we're gonna talk about, connections, and how does this connect? And then the next day, oh, we're gonna throw in summarizing, now we're gonna summarize, but yet I
Yeah, that's
never
the new-
taught you how to do any of those things.
It's that
That's-
bundling thing. I know.
That's the frustration
And
part.
that's actually changed, and that's actually what they're expecting in the standards now. I know.
It's all over the place.
But I'm hoping
And the
that-
writing is like that too.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
like,
she
you
said,
know,
that's what she said.
when you teach a writing piece, you follow the writing process. They're not using the writing process to,
Well, I do think that you can definitely do this for the writing for publication. Like, I think that it can totally relate to my view or not, because I think that'll be easy. I think these aren't as hard. I mean, I think I tied it in for you, but I think you do these, a lot of these things
those
already.
are easy. I think it's when it's like the writing for publication and you're pulling the writing piece from the My View, it's all over the place.
So you actually wanna think about how, they said the same thing.
All
So
over the
actually,
place.
what you need to think maybe then is how can you then take what they've given you, but then you put it together so it's not all over the place. Because like it does need to be, like somebody said that they can't remember what I know who said this, that they can't remember what they read the day, or what they wrote the day before, because it's kind of all over the place. So this part then might be what you guys need to focus on is writing for publication. How do we take what's in my view and we make it so that kids understand the writing process? And, I mean,
But are we allowed to do that?
I don't know, that's a Teresa question.
I'm sorry, say that again. Sorry, there's some news, my phone is blowing up, I had to take a minute for myself, but I'm ready.
Okay.
Mhm. It's not personal, it's all vague.
You
can't do that. Don't
Pause
tell
the
her, just
video.
announce, no. Yes, what, go ahead.
If we're required to use the My View writing, if we're using it, does it mean that we have to use it the way they tell us to use it? Or can we move things around and adjust based on, as long as we're pulling it from that source?
Yes. Just as long
Too
as
many
you're
questions.
using the source.
We're using the
The resource.
H2IR,
Mm-hmm.
but we're using it the way we feel is best to use it, pulling things, maybe not in the same order that they have, but we're still using it, but we're putting it in an order that makes more sense.
Yes, because we, as educators, have to do what our students need, right? So I trust you all to do, and, because sometimes, like we said yesterday, you're not gonna use every single problem in every single, right? So you're gonna pick and choose, and sometimes you may spend more time on one area than another, or whatever. But, have you talked about the way Matthew, oh, you're about to? Or you?
Oh, no, what part?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
They
yeah,
haven't
that's-
looked at the framework stuff yet.
Well, actually, that's what we were talking about.
Okay.
They feel really good about the writing to learn and the writing to demonstrate learning. What they're worried about is the writing for publication seems so choppy for, like, to write,
Okay, so
to
the
take you through the
publication.
writing, to take you through the writing process. They feel like it's so choppy. They want to think about, can they make this more meaningful or better order?
Yes,
Is that
but
what you're
each
talking about?
week is kind of like brainstorming, drafting. If you look at it, it's like a week at a time.
But it's not in the right order. Like, from what I remember, when we were trying to use it, it didn't feel like it was the writing process that we've been taught to teach. Like, you would brainstorm first, and then you would do a pre-write, and then you would draft, and then you would revise, and you would edit, then you would publish. And it'd be like, let's publish something first, and you're like, what the heck? At least that was my impression.
There's a fast track for the writing in the back of the book where it kind of shifts a bit, where, because, like, I think another thing that's so confusing is they are writing one piece over the whole unit.
Yes,
So it's like
So you're
6
taking
weeks
them
of
5 weeks.
5 weeks, well, then the
Because we don't use the
6
6.
week. We're not gonna use the 6 week.
We're not using the 6th week?
Because the 6th week really isn't,
Is the authentic learning piece that they've told us that,
but we're not gonna stop, drop, and just do an authentic learning in 1 week.
I know, but it's supposed to build up to that, right? Like, that, at least that's the way this,
Usually the last.
You're talking, but that's different,
All the
authentic
text and things together.
writing. Writing, if you look, it's pre-write, draft, revise and edit, publish.
okay.
So it's a 5-week, go through the writing process.
The
It has a
first week is
pre-write, draft, revise and edit, publish.
Okay.
I mean,
I didn't use the writing last year.
it literally says that for each.
We did.
5
We taught a
weeks.
lot of on-demand writing and all the other.
Oh, I can't even imagine what you all were thinking with that.
So,
I mean,
Listen, when's our test scores coming out? We can't wait.
so then.
Brittany, did you use it? Cause you're awfully quiet over there.
No.
Okay.
And I don't know that most schools until probably this year are gonna use the writing, 'cause you have to have a writing by law, right?
See, all this legislation,
Yeah,
okay?
you have
So
to
it's not
have-
Bullitt County.
You have to have a writing program. Because what they did away with, because they did the on-demand away with the on-demand, so now there's no accountability. I think it's the superintendent has to say what the district is using for the writing instructions.
And the
so-
fact is, we have no money to buy another program. We already have this, and it works. Because actually on day 2, it's like meet the author, like, so it goes with author's craft. It goes together. It's cohesive with what you're doing in reading and writing. Ish,
Heard
yes.
from yesterday.
Yes.
Questions,
That is helpful to hear.
processing,
Lots of parts.
right, I'm not overstepping my bounds when I say that that's required, right, about the writing
The writing.
curriculum. Make sure. Do you want more time to talk about that? About
No, we
this?
just get you pressed. Move on. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. This is the story of our lives it's fine.
But I will say, because they've done away with the on-demand, then there is this writing plan
Yeah.
that the district has to present to KDE and what they're gonna, what you're gonna use to teach writing. So
I would say I would much rather do this
Yeah, I
than
would
let
too.
it spit out a 90-minute writing piece that is not developmentally
I think
appropriate for
you're gonna be
So,
more
we're fine.
intentional with teaching writing, and I think your kids are gonna be better writers.
Yeah, and I agree with
And
you.
when it goes all together, they're gonna have fun, and you can make it more authentic and not just,
We'll be fine.
it's gonna be
It'll
fun.
be fine.
Sure.
I think it will.
I mean, I do think it's better. Yeah, no, I mean, I think this.
And I'm gonna tell you guys are fifth grade, you're gonna like it so much better. You're gonna be able to teach writing. Kids are gonna learn how to
So
write.
we would do, like this is your.
See, and you were trying to teach writing and also teach how they were gonna sit for that 90-minute writing. So you guys are gonna really love to teach writing this year.
You can make it more
Okay, let's talk about, and then I'm gonna let you go to lunch. Let's talk about a couple writing to learn strategies that you could use. They're quick and easy. They're sentence strategies that you could use in any subject, any content area, and you could use it in your HQIR. So I'm gonna teach you two real quick strategies, nothing fancy. They're just a sentence, but it's actually a nice strategy that you can use, again, across content, and in ELA. Okay, so, the first one is expanding sentences, and this is all in your guided notes. First one's expanding sentences, and this is what expanding sentences does. It checks comprehension, so great, they read a text and you can do this. It helps them take, it's a note-taking strategy, helps them anticipate what kind of information they might need to provide. It develops their ability to summarize, and it reinforces academic knowledge. You can use this in any content area. Okay, so what it is you give them a kernel sentence, which is very basic. So a kernel sentence is just something like birds fly, and it could be about a text you've read. Okay, so you could just give them the subject and the verb, and that's it. And then their job is to extend it, but I'm also going to talk about some tools that they use in here. If kids see the abbreviated or like the dotted lines, that's letting them know they can just use notes. They don't have to use whole entire sentences. And when they see like a solid line, they want to use a whole entire sentence. They want them to use a sentence for it. So let's talk about how this works. Sentence expansion, you give the students a kernel sentence, and then you ask them some questions and they fill it in. Who, what, when, where, why, how. Great for stories, right? Great for going through a story. You can provide answers to questions and they have to fill it in and expand it. So here you can give them a form like this, but I'm going to show you something that you can use that's even easier. And then students convert these notes and they complete it to like a sentence. So basically it's a sentence summary. So here's what it looks like. Very easy in that you just give them a sentence. Okay, this is from Animal Farm, so it's from a text. And I gave them, he called a meeting, very basic, and they're going to expand it. I asked the questions, who, what, when, where, and then they take this information and they write an expanded sentence. Basically, AKA, this is a summary sentence. They've read a text and now they're going to write a summary sentence about it. Okay, nothing crazy. So, who was it? This is from Animal Farm, Old Major. When did it take place? 3 days before he died. Notice that these dots are here because you don't want kids writing a whole entire sentence. You don't want their Old Major is blah, blah, blah. It was 3 days before he died. You don't want any of that because you're going to take this information and put it into a sentence. This is just notes. Where was it? Manor Farm, and why encourage animals to revolt. So then you take it, you put it together. The 3 days before he died, Old Major called a meeting at the Manor Farm to encourage the animals to revolt. A very easy expanded sentence. Nothing crazy, right? Okay, I'm giving you this expanded sentence. They are learning sentence level writing revolution strategies. Who's doing it, when, why, and an expanded sentence. This is a strategy, if you don't have this book, it's a great book, around easy writing to learn strategies for any content area. It goes K-12. No, I lied. It goes first grade to 12. Okay, this is your basic expanded sentence. I want you to fill in who. And I'm really referring to you guys. So who could be who, when, and why, and let's write an expanded sentence. This is in your guided notes, and you can fill it in or talk about it orally. If you don't want to write, talk. Who's the who, when, why, and what would the expanded sentence be? This is AKA almost like a summary sentence down here. Oh, right here.
Learning sentence level writing revolution strategies to strengthen our writing instruction.
would share their expanded sentence.
Today, the
Good.
teachers at Cedar Grove Elementary School are learning sentence level writing revolution strategies to strengthen our writing instruction.
Perfect. So you could use this with any text, you could use it in math, you could use it in social studies. You could use this, and it's not hard, once you teach the format. Also teach the kids that when they see these dots, you don't write full sentences. Just write the who, the when, the why, and then when you put it together. And this could be a sentence summary, but it's an expanded sentence. You're giving them a kernel sentence up here. I gave you a little bit too much, I probably just should have given you a noun and a verb and been done, but there you go. Okay, so that's one strategy, and I wanna talk about some scaffolds you could use, with kids. So, look at this. This is one scaffold you could give with kids. They tag butterflies. And then what you could say to kids here is, give a kernel sentence, you expand it, and then you say, what parts are on here? Well, we have the who and the why. So the kids name the parts. And again, expand a sentence, when and where. So you could actually ask the kids to say, give the parts that are expanded. Like, oh, we added the who, we added the why, we added the when, we added the where. So you can give the kids those pieces and they have to tell you the who, the when, what, and where. The other thing for kids is they don't ever know where to start. You need to put a star next to when so that they know when they make their expanded sentence, they start with the when and then they add the rest of it. So do kids need a scaffold? I don't know which one to start with. I was gonna start with the what? The seed, a seed sprouts in the soil, and I didn't add my when. I was gonna add it at the end. You said today. She started with today, but she knew that because she's an adult learner, right? So.
I had to go back and add it.
Oh, okay.
I did.
So then guess what? Then you need to give that scaffold for kids that you always start with the when. Put a star by that so they already know that they started that. That's a great scaffold for them then. Then they'll start to automatically do it when they're writing. Also, do you have kids you need to number them? First, second, third. Now, let's put it together. If you do that enough for scaffolding for kids, then can they eventually write their own sentence? So these are scaffolds for kids to help them.
Could you not change the order of those and say when, what?
You
when?
could. I was doing it because I wanted kids to have to think about it.
Okay.
But you could do that as a scaffold and then move
Yeah,
back and
and
change
move
it.
back to changing
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and then move back to changing it.
Like, what if they said the seed sprouts after it receives sun, whatever, like, is that okay, or are we, like,
No, I think,
really want them to put the,
and you put the when after. I do think if you wanna start, you're starting, but I think you really wanna point out how important that when is in the beginning of the sentence, because that's where you start usually. So I don't think in the beginning, if you're just teaching it in general, let them put it at the end, and then talk about how important it is to put that in the beginning, how it helps the reader have a better understanding about what's going on, and the time. So I think it's totally just a good learning piece of it. Okay, last one I wanna talk about. I have resources on your table. I got all these resources linked for the sentence expansion. The last one I want to talk about, I think is very powerful, again, for cross content. Because, but, so. And this is a great formative assessment. So this is a great, writing to demonstrate learning. Okay? So I'm going to say that again. This is a great writing to demonstrate learning. Because, but, so is great for kids to elaborate on responses. It's also great to check for comprehension. Great to reinforce academic knowledge and vocabulary, and it's good for close reading. So we think that these are real easy to learn strategies, and obviously develops thinking. So in this one, you teach the kids what each means. So because means something, and I don't know why my G's hanging out there, but why is something true? But means it indicates a change, and then so is a cause and effect. Okay, and they can use this for anything. So here's one that I used when I gave them a STEM. Teaching students virtually is difficult because not all students have access to technology and support. The but is because it allows them to continue learning different during a pandemic. And so teachers continue to search out ways to make virtual learning more accessible. So now let's get some examples. You give them an example for students. I'm giving you this, and by the way, they have the same STEM, and this is for science. Tornadoes are destructive. Tornadoes are destructive because they have extremely high destructive winds. Tornadoes are destructive, but people can prepare for this event of a tornado. And tornadoes are destructive storms, so people should be prepared to seek shelter. So you can give them the STEM, and then they have to finish the because, but, so. again, I'm gonna have you talk about this at your table. Let's think about about writing and how writing can be challenging. Writing can be challenging because, but, and so. Talk about what you would fill in there. Again, this is a powerful strategy that you could use in any content area for writing to demonstrate learning. Okay? In your HQIR, in math, in social studies, in science. So talk about writing. Writing can be challenging because, writing can be challenging but, writing can be challenging so. You don't have to fill it in, but just talk about it. And then we'll share out.
And maybe the students get it, they don't have any background knowledge, they don't have any like. Idea development, evidence based struggles. Like events,
They just don't know how to do it. I mean, like, marching writing, I can't think of it. The writing's so challenging because kids can't be, yeah, yeah.
That's why I said, because I don't know what to write.
Same thing, yeah.
Writing can be challenging because students are.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Writing can be challenging, but we as teachers can provide them because that's them.
Okay, let's share some. Writing can be challenging because,
Students don't know where to begin.
okay, I put teachers have not been trained how to teach writing. Because actually, I hear that all the time, that they come into teaching and they're like, I don't know how to teach writing. Writing can be challenging, but,
We as teachers can teach them because let's go method.
ooh, like it. You can use the writing revolution strategy of because but so. Awesome. Writing can be challenging, so
It's important we learn how to teach students to write.
okay. Teachers should plan and prepare prior to giving writing assignments. I mean, I just made this up, y'all. But point being, I want to talk a little briefly about some of the structures. So they do have a correct way of doing this. They really want the kids not to have, they want this line here all next to it because they want them to realize it's a complete sentence. So they really encourage you not to put the because, them writing on a line all by itself. They also don't want you putting, the teacher was happy because, and then, but, so, they really want it written out. The teacher was happy because, the teacher was happy, but, the teacher was happy, so. And they want it all one line so that kids can see it. So this is a formality, and nobody's gonna check you, but this does come from the manual, and they really talk about how that helps kids. And then I've given you some forms you can use to fill in, for kids, and that you can type on them, and you can give them the STEM, and then they have to fill it in. Also notice that these dotted lines tell you that the kids are finishing it. Okay, so talk at your table about these two strategies. Can you use these, and can they be powerful, and talk about these two strategies and how you could use these, either with my view or in a content area you teach. Okay, my friends, let's talk about this. So how could you use the expanded sentence, or what are you thinking about using, when are you thinking about using the expanded sentence, and when are you thinking about using because but so? I heard some good conversations.
I said because, but so I teach social studies, I'm gonna teach social studies, and there's broad, big questions in social studies, and I think it would be good.
I like it, and I think you mentioned the same thing. Okay, anyone else, ways you could use because but so, or the expanded sentence? you mentioned something.
We said we could use the stories ones within
Yep.
my view and maybe present whatever, character trait or something.
I like it. What else? What other ways could you use that? Anything else?
I think when you're, I don't know if this is right, I might be writing it, but when it comes time to the revising and editing, that would be a great opportunity to say, okay, well, one sentence from your writing, and let's do the when Dutch, the when, whatever, that one. Spanning sentences.
And it doesn't even, honestly, it doesn't even have to be all those words. It can
Yeah.
just be a couple of them,
Right.
because it's so vague that there's not enough detail there. So yes, use
But I
for
like,
details.
I like how you had the sentences, and then they had to find the why and the what, because they, start there first.
Yes.
And then say, okay, now that you've been able to identify the why and the what, now we're going to apply that to your writing, and let's do it. Because like, even when you give them a sentence, and you say, okay, tell me the nouns, well, there's just no way you can do that.
And
So-
it's very basic, like there's a very basic,
Yeah.
so that will help them
Right,
expand
yeah.
their guidance.
Yeah, I definitely like that, and I'm totally like digging the name kernel, because like, you have a popcorn kernel and you have to expand it and make it hot, spicy, and then it'll pop open.
Yep.
So,
And I put a bunch of resources in there for you. They're all linked for both of those strategies, so you can use any of that stuff. It's from that book. Okay, last thing I want you to do, and then you guys are going off to lunch or do whatever you're gonna do. Probably some of you are skipping lunch and working in your room, but let's hope not. Let's hope you're gonna do a nice lunch. Okay, at your table, talk about 1 to 3 words, a symbol, something that you took away from today's learning. That's gonna be helpful for you this year. One thing, talk about at your table, go around the table and share with each other. And then we're gonna share out, and then you have a reflection for me, and then you guys are out of here. Think about one takeaway from today.
and then it's like, we look in, because
Somebody can take away, but if you want an extra one, do you have any new people or any people that might benefit from this? Or do you wanna keep these? It's just the guy who knows.
Let me have a few, because like I said,
Okay. I'm just, I clean up all this stuff, otherwise we just have a mess. Okay, let's go around the room and let's share. Let's start at this table. One takeaway. Well, you each are gonna share.
We say informative.
Okay.
Informative, that's a refreshing.
Okay.
word we use before this.
Okay. And you're not even, I just told her, this is probably the best day I felt all summer. And, I know, but, this is probably not even my best, like, so I'm glad you feel refreshed about it, okay? Okay, okay. Oh, yeah, special ed, yeah, okay.
we talked about how amazing you are as an instructor, and how every
You
time.
really didn't say that, did you?
No, yeah, I really did. I said every time I come
That's
away
why we
from a
love you.
Lynn
Why?
Schwally, a Lynn Schwally training, I come away with so much
Well,
more
this makes you feel so
knowledge.
good, because I've such a crappy summer, so thank you so much.
No, I mean, seriously, like, it's been, I mean, like, you, I don't know what it is,
A little
that, like,
lighter.
every time I've been with you, you have made
Well,
me.
I'm gonna be real honest with you. When I was a classroom teacher for 20 years, so when you don't know how many PDs I walked away with, and I just put it on the shelf and I just kept on going. But I also kept thinking, every time I put professional learning together, I think, I need the teachers to be able to do something with this tomorrow. Like, I need to be useful to them, so that anytime I put a training together, that's what I think about. Only because I spent 20 years, probably not a lot of
But
useful
I
PD.
feel like, like even yesterday, like I feel like they all say that or feel that way, but sometimes it does get lost, but I feel like with you said, this is 10 minutes and this is 2 strategies. You're not overwhelming us.
You present it in a way that makes it seem like
It's
It's
doable.
doable and
Probably
we-
my simple thinking, you all.
Yeah. But maybe that's not a bad
That's
what
what
we
we
need.
need.
Yeah.
And let me
You know,
tell
like, I
you,
just
working with Lynn has been great, because we started talking, back in May, April? And, we were even on Zoom Monday at 4:30 together, so she really understood, what our needs were and everything else, and really customized. So, yeah.
I like hearing this is how you can make it work for you, like, it might not be the best, but this is how you make it
Yeah.
work.
Do you have a tie pen?
Yes.
Okay.
There's one in the sunshine.
It really works, a tie pen really works.
I was like, there's one in the.
And you have white on.
In the sunshine room.
You know, when this is
It's like a $5 shirt from Walmart.
I know, but still,